Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we
Peace,
go.
man. We live, man. Yes, man. Reminisce Show. We out here, man, carrying on the ancient traditions of Sankofa, man, connecting the past, present, and the future, man. Just really knowing where we're coming from to know where we're going and far beyond, man. Yo, we're living in some, unprecedented times, man. Some really interesting things that have been happening, things that are happening, today in the States right now.
Oh my God! It's officially the day. It's D-Day. It's the crossroads of America's future.
Where
It's for sure, man. It's fingers crossed. Pray to the motherfucking ancestors. Like, whew.
man, we gonna see, man. We gonna see.
We're gonna see. Hopefully, it's the end of the Trump era. Hopefully, we see that the experiment failed, and we don't need more time to see if the swamp was not drained. It was expanded and doubled with more mold and disgustingness than ever before.
Crazy.
this fool. He didn't even build his wall. He's a failure on a variety of levels. Jobs suck. Everyone, like, the standards of the country is in the toilet. It's America's a laughing stock around the world. And the last thing I will say is that America's been so bad that there wasn't even many terrorist attacks in America in the last few years, because I really swear to God that ISIS and terrorists were like, what can we do that is
it's more than like
we can't even Trump
you can't outdo this. You can't outdo this.
More damage than we could ever do with a bomb or anything. We just go sit back and just eat.
Right. Just fall back and do a thing. Where
I really feel that way. But I mean, did you end up going to the States in the last 4 years? Were you there in the Trump era?
In the last 4 years, yes. Detroit. Was in Detroit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Detroit's a really out of all the the states, like Detroit's like really interesting because there's several places that are just like abandoned and just like really low living conditions that people are going through, and it's crazy to think that this is even in America, and but then obviously Detroit has like its flip side to it as well, though. But wild, it's wild.
So wild, yeah, man. It's crazy times, wild times, unprecedented times. But yeah, the peace to all the people who are maintaining the hope and being essential workers and saviors and leaders in very trying times. So,
very trying times, man. Very, very trying times, without doubt. But we're still here, still surviving, still thriving. Like somehow, some way, we find a way to keep it moving, man.
Yep. So, yeah, man. We got a guest coming up, possibly. We'll see if the contacts go through. But
yes, man. Amol, man. Yeah, man. Staple in the scene. Anybody who's been to like any kind of like hip hop show frequently or any kind of in the mix spot where things are happening. He's usually there. If there's any kind of movement, he'll find his way there at some point in the day or night. So hopefully, I know he's a busy guy. Hopefully he'll be able to, come through and just share some of his experiences, you know what I mean? Especially in the Toronto scene. Like he's someone who's, worked at so many different events and venues and worked with so many different artists that were, doing their thing back then and now. And, there's just so many intersections, experiences, especially coming from Toronto, you know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
Toronto has a lot of history and there's so much more to uncover. It's so beautiful, and it's unfortunate that these stories don't really get out, but that's the whole point of us creating these like spaces and platforms, so we can invite people to share their stories so it's not lost or forgotten, but it's remembered and again, really understand the foundations that have led us to like where we are right now.
That's everything. That's really it. And these stories are eternal. The stories are so great. Like, I can't believe we just need more authors. We need more podcasts. We need more. I can't believe the magazines that don't exist anymore, and even the weeklies in Toronto. But we ain't gonna give up. Yeah, I'm working on collecting some of my stories. I'm not gonna reveal too much about that, but it's going all right. And I found a couple stories that I even forgot about over the years. It's been
wow.
Yeah, like oh damn, I did that. Oh,
Right. Word.
yeah. It's like just forward thinking so much, you kind of forget your history sometimes, which is why it's really good to do these reminisce things and then talk to friends. And because a friend always has
Yeah.
an experience and a memory of a story that
Very true.
oh, I forgot about that one. Like Amol is like that with us. Me, you, and Amol, we've all been various places and shit.
So many places, man.
All of us will have different perspectives and memories on different huge moments in Toronto history. So, and we just gonna keep enlightening each other.
Exactly. And we just like bounce off each other and always just remind each other of that energy, man, that spirit, man. And it's so true, man. Like so many things have, there's so many experiences that we go through, and because there's so much, like, to really sit down and just to like even like go back and appreciate certain moments. You know what I mean? Like, well, what's like a memorable, I guess, like hip hop moment, or a time where you're just like, yo, you know what, man, like it's crazy.
Let me see. There's a few. Going all over the place, man. I don't know if I ever told a story on here, but
yeah,
there was a story where Ninth Wonder told me, Ninth Wonder of Little Brother.
Yeah.
He told me that he thought, but I also agreed with him, and many people at the time thought that Toronto was the hip hop capital of the world. And and in 2010 or so, maybe about 10 years ago, it was at a Manifesto show, maybe 2009, maybe 2011, whichever that High Tech and Ninth Wonder were at. We were at Revival, and the place was rammed. The whole Manifesto had gone down all day. It was a success. Wow. It was fantastic. We were at City Hall. We were all over the city, and like it was just hip hop magic day. And then we're at the after party, and I'm talking to Ninth Wonder, and then he's just like, "Yo, man, I can't believe this. Look at this shit. Toronto's the hip hop capital of the world." And I was like, I heard him say that, and I was like, I love Toronto, and I always big up Toronto. Right. And I always say, but I'm like, yo, you're from North Carolina. You're very much an American. You've produced with Jay-Z and many other cats. This is amazing to see you say that.
His perspective,
Yeah. So then I was like, the pinnacle moment was I looked at him and I was like, yo, what you like? This couldn't happen in North Carolina, and dog, like the cut eye he gave me was like he just like I was like beside him and I was like, yo, this couldn't happen in North Carolina, and he was like he looked at me, hey, what's up? But he looked at me and like his face was like, never in a million years. Like he was like, no way. Like it was
never happened.
Just the way Revival was rammed. It was a huge hip hop thing, and we had just come from taking over City Hall and another thing, and it's just like this has been a peaceful day of hip hop in the city. Right. It was like as high as it can be politically on the biggest stages in the city. It was like successful. There's girls there. There was like food, but like it was just a successful hip hop event. Yeah. And he just looked at me like, dog, it wouldn't happen like this in North Carolina ever.
Ever. Done.
So like I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And like, he hit me so hard with that moment, man. It was
wow.
Yeah. Do you have one that like? Do you have a memory that you just hold?
Yeah, I mean, there's two. The short one is Method Man. Meeting Method Man a few times. Backstage, I've even interviewed him several times. But then to have him like represent and wear Stolen from Africa shirts like in multiple scenarios. That was just really humbling because Wu-Tang was just like that's like hip hop royalty right there. Like we all grew up listening to that. And being influenced by a lot of, music, coming from Wu-Tang, like especially just like the flow wise and just like the science and supreme mathematics and all these different things. So connecting with Meth on that level was just like incredibly, just in awe. There's no other words to put it. And just the fact that he's like a chill guy too, like really like down to earth and just like, you know, just a regular dude. Like there's no celebrity aura or anything like that. You know what I mean? So that was like really cool to experience. But the next one that comes to mind is my first hip hop show ever, and I've told this to you a couple times, which was at Elemental at the Comfort Zone, which is Comfort Zone doesn't exist anymore. A lot of people have many experiences at the Comfort Zone. I was there for the hip hop shows. I know Comfort Zone has all kinds of things going on, but this in particular was a show with Bahamadia and Mathematic. You know, so this is like, you know, I'm still in high school, and this is like my first like real like hip hop show venue. And what made it so memorable, like the place was packed, and you remember like Comfort Zone, like the ceilings were kind of low, you know what I mean? So everybody, people are in there like they're smoking bogeys, and it's just like it's just intense, you know what I mean? And then the power goes out. So this is like late August, right? Like summer of like '99 or something like that. You know what I mean? The power goes out, so everybody's just like, you know, getting frustrated and like getting hot and just, you know what I mean? Like you're like in sardines, you know what I mean? And then eventually like the power got on and the show started going, and then like, you know, Mathematic came out, and then just seeing him perform was just like crazy, and just knowing that he's from Scarborough, Malvern, so big up the Malvern man, but just like seeing it like live hip hop in that, I was like, yo, this is hip hop, man. This is just so raw, like you're just in the mix, you know what I mean? So that will always be like my like moment where I was just like, wow, this just really, you know, changed things, and how impactful that was. Like from that moment, I knew that I wanted to rap, I wanted to be an MC, I wanted to be part of this culture. You know, that was like my like, you know what I mean? Just like turn me up like vroom. So
yeah, that's good. You know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's Mathematic and Bahamadia. That's pure hip hop, yo.
Yeah, man.
Hey, speaking of pure hip hop, man, maybe I'll just get into this book that I got here. It's actually pretty dope. It's I just bought it. It was written by Blueprint. He's from Columbus, Ohio, an American independent hip hop native.
Yeah.
And it's just called The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists. It's really dope, man. It's just a brother who just studied the culture. He just lives hip hop. He's got a podcast, Super Deep Network, and he just is out there, independent hip hop dude, spreading information and wisdom for people to just take and use for their own benefit. And the brother's really good, man. He put some drawings in the book, and I'll just get through a couple of them. Just
we'll get to our special guests. Yeah.
It's just like 10 traits. Chapter 1, perseverance. Chapter 2, patience.
Oh man.
5 is high standards. Chapter 6 is being a self-starter. 7 is long-term thinking. 8, relentless work ethic. And then it's like long-term thinking. You have RZA and talks about RZA and his sits down with the Wu-Tang at the pizza shop, and he's like, all right, you guys, I'm the bus driver, get in the bus, just trust me for 5 years. But like that's a pretty well-known story. A lot of people know that. I knew that story. But then he goes into Jay Dilla, he goes into 50 Cent, he goes into some other independent dudes, De La Soul. So he's all over the place. Nipsey Hussle in it. Atmosphere. So it's just a lot of Murs.
Right.
Lots of independent dudes. And he's got this interesting thing about Kanye West where he's talking about how much Kanye uses other people's opinions and stuff around him and stuff. So it's like he it's a very good book. It's just talking about
that's dope. Like, and I love when hip hop is used as like as an educational resource and really to like, you know, give like guidelines for like values and just like, you know, efficient ways of being that will just kind of like minimize, you know, problems and conflicts and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So I love that, man. To me, like that's where hip hop has always represented for me. That's my experience. You know what I mean? And I love seeing it, you know, being shown in different ways, like, you know, book form. And so that's peace, man. I think I'm gonna get a copy of that and even bring that to like my youth groups as well, because I think that's something that we can gravitate towards. And you know what, even to implement that in some of our lessons too. You know what I mean? So,
I would highly recommend it. Like I got it and I read it in 2 days. I read it really fast.
Yeah.
It's got like 3 stories, 3 artists per chapter.
Okay.
So like it's not too complex for kids to get into.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, these are it's like it's got some old school cats like De La Soul, but it's got new cats like Nipsey Hussle and stuff. So it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not like something that the youth of today couldn't appreciate. And it's like, yo, even older heads are like, yo, come on, man, you know.
Right.
So yeah, it's got 50 Cent, some gangster shit, RZA, some Wu-Tang street grimy shit, and then some independent cats, and I think Prince Paul is in here too. Yeah, it's just really just a good instructional book on how to be a more productive, focused, successful hip hop artist.
But it sounds like it's a lot of stuff that can just be applied in life, man. Like, never mind just like in music.
Oh yeah.
That's how I was interpreting. I was hearing the titles, like, you know what I mean, like the words that went along. I'm like, nah, man, this is some life skills, man. This is real right here.
You nailed it, man. Enough of these things these people talk about. I can't remember whose story it was, but one of the people's story is talking about. He's like, yeah, I wanted to get some money for a concert. And then the dad is like, oh, yeah, you want to go to that concert? Sure. And then the dad like just puts the lawnmower in front of the kid. And then the kid's like, all right, I figured out, well, if I want something in life, like I got to have to work for it. So it really is about life skills. And the kid's like, yeah, I just mowed my neighbor's lawn and then got some guap from dad. And then I went to my first rap concert. And from there, I learned that you can get things you want, but you got to work for it. So it's just jewels like that where it's like, yo, man, this really can apply to life. And like I'm an independent hip hopper. I'm for sure nowhere near what I want to do. So I'm like, I got to keep learning.
Always, man. Always and forever, man. But on that note, I feel that's a good transition, man. We got our special guest, man, waiting in the green room.
All right. We got our man.
Let me see if I can plug him in. Let me see if this works here, man. Yes. Testing 1 2 1 2. Yes, Amol, you there? He's there, but we going through some like technical.
He's being shy.
he's there, but not there, man. But anyways, I mean, I guess in the meantime, while we try to figure this out, I'm not sure what's happening. But do you recall the first time you met Amol, or one of your earlier experiences, or?
Oh man, I'm not that great at that. Some people, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's been 15 years. It feels like. I feel like he's a cat. I've for sure known him for longer than a decade. I don't know if it's 20 years yet, but it might be coming up to 20 years. I don't know if it was at the Opera House. I feel like it was at an event. I really don't know. I really don't know the first time I saw him. Do you remember?
You know what? I got introduced to Amol through another brethren of mine, Lamin Lep. You know, I mean, we were part of a crew, Fatal Phonetics, back in the day, and I believe they went to school together. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been like Ursula Franklin. If I'm not mistaken. We were all like in high school at the time, and we were doing music. And I remember, he got us to perform at some club. Like, now we were like straight up like underground backpack rapper type, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so he wanted us to perform in like a club, like, you know what I mean? Like getting jiggy with it and all that. And like sonically, it was just an interesting like mix though, you know what I mean? And I remember getting to this club and just meeting him. And he was just like, with all the artists and just how he does. I was like, yo, this guy's pretty cool, you know what I mean, doing this thing. And he was just really supportive. We did our performance thing, whatever, and it was a cool experience. Like I personally felt like it didn't mesh at the time or whatever, just you know what I mean. But it was him just showing love to us. He was like, yo, you're an artist. I have a platform. Do your thing, whatever. You know what I mean. So from there, like and that was like high school days. You know what I mean? So that was probably like late 90s, early 2000s, you know what I mean?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So he's been like doing that since high school, like till now, like consistently, like working with artists, like putting on events, like supporting events, working with high profile peoples and stuff like that. So it's really, yeah, man. That's like one of my first like memories, and just he's been one of those dudes like over time, and we've always just maintained the friendship and just always connected and built throughout the scene. I know like a lot of you know, like opportunities that I've had like to even meet certain artists was definitely like through Amol, you know what I mean? So I got big up. Oh, I think we're connecting now. Let me see if I can plug him in. Let me see now.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I guess my computer does not work. I have a cam that I bought. It's there. I plugged it in. I don't know why it's not connecting. I have a headphone and a mic, and I don't know. I never used this stuff in a very like long time. So I guess I got to figure out a way how to
Okay.
in the future how to connect a mic and a camera to my computer. 'Cause I don't know. It's not reading it.
Well, we
Yo,
got you,
well,
dog. We hear you and we see you clear, man.
Yeah, but I'm doing it off my phone.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is the day and age of technology that we live in, man, and this is
Yeah.
it's part of it now, and we gotta evolve. Just like you over the years, man, you've like evolved throughout the scene, man, like and still relevant and still doing your thing, still connecting with artists. Like many like notable celebrities, like director X, Drake, so many artists that have come through, man. Tory Lanez, like you're always like in the mix, and somehow
Yeah.
you've been able to like evolve and just stay relevant, man. But before we get into like some of the story, I'm really interested, like how did you even like start with getting in the scenes of like the entertainment music scene and doing events, like things of that nature?
Yeah, just to make a long story short, um, like you're talking about the high school days, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I was doing that show for you guys, like, yeah, me and Lamin were at Ursula. I
That's
was
what it
like,
was.
and you at Oakwood at the time.
That's right.
What year was that?
Like I said, like I was thinking like that might have like 98, 99, something like that. I think it was really early, like real early, man.
Yeah, so like, if you're talking about them days, like even I did that show before uh, you know, putting you guys on that,
Yeah.
it's like I have to start from somewhere, right? So
Right.
it's like you can't just get that just like that. And basically, long story short, I was doing some like background work, acting work, this, that, and a third, in like 96, and then I think 97, 98, I was trying, the all ages scene was popping, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So then, I'll just, I was a young kid, you want to see what you want to know what the club is about, right?
Mm.
And obviously, I'll like I'll ride my bike downtown to what club is it? Right there on Adelaide and Bathurst. I'm trying to remember now.
Man, it's like,
Helium. It was called Helium nightclub back in the day.
oh, Helium!
I'm pretty sure that
Wow.
was it, right? Yeah. So I think that's where everything started. In the day, that's when I'm like, hey, the guy that started was Vince, Wet Jam, and I'm like, he gave uh people a platform, like, yo, you want to, obviously, being a young kid, it's like you don't have too much pocket change, and it's like, 10, $20 to get in, and you got to figure out a hustle. Like, trust me, like, even till now, like, we even if you don't have backstage access or whatever it is, you'll find a way. If you have a will, there's a way. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I just started. I want to learn the ropes of being a promoter. So then Vince, was like, okay, cool. You know what? You can come here, see what you can do, whatever. So that was that. And then I just started networking after that. From him, I started seeing who else was in the all ages stuff. Who's doing what. Just learn a 1-2. Those Mass Appeal, and then there was Star Child, and then I started my own company called Standout Entertainment. I think I came up with it in like 98, 99. One of my first all ages parties was with Destiny Sound Crew. And Destiny Sound Crew was this guy named Ryan and Future the Prince. Future the Prince was the MC, Ryan was a DJ, and they both were like, "Amol, you gotta come up with a name. Like, we gotta figure this out. We gotta put your name on the flyer. So then I'm like, yo, Standout it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of reasons.
All right. So you came up with your name, Mr. Standout. That was for you.
Yeah, I just came up with it, 99. It's like they need a name for the flyer to put down, and I'm like, hey,
so just like that.
And this is the same Future the Prince that's now Drake's DJ. That same one?
That's the same one. Yeah, we did one of my first parties was him.
Okay, dope. And so, did you start as a promoter, or did you have like a background like in the entertainment industry, or were you like a former MC, dancer,
Nothing,
DJ?
nothing, 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 nothing.
Straight business?
I just learned the ropes. I just turned it on one day and that was it. In high school, it's
Wow.
like, okay, cool. I just started networking, learning who's what's who the DJs, like who doing what. Then I was doing my own parties. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, I'm just networking with the venues, networking with other artists, networking like in the music game. Networking with the club owners, networking with the DJs, other promoters. Like that's everybody, connecting everybody. So when I do my shit, I can make my shit popping where everybody's at my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All right, for real. So,
So
who was your? It sounds like you wanted to have like a Puff Daddy career or something, man. Like who was one of your idols? Who was a man?
like I'm pretty sure you can say that I did, right?
Yeah.
in the city of, in the city of Toronto, in retrospect, right?
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's no, because you definitely were doing that, and that's something like when you say stand out, like I feel like you actually like walked into that destiny, right? Because you literally do stand out, like you're everywhere. Like I mean, I've rolled with you, and sometimes it's all like 5, 6 events in one night. You know what I mean? And the thing is like Amal's like the guy, like he's not just there, like he's like really in the mix, like he's like with like either on stage or in the DJ booth or like you know what I mean. Like he's like really in it, you know what I mean.
Oh,
So
oh man, definitely. Yo, Amal.
yeah, no, for real.
Logic asked me do I remember the first time we met, and
Yeah, I heard that.
I can't even say that I remember the very first time. I mean, I do you remember the first time? I mean, I just seen you in the cut in the trenches of hip hop. You've just been out here for so long. It's just like, yo, you're always been there, and I'm like, I can't exactly remember the first time. I don't know. Like,
I'm trying to see how we can get a IG live going right now. I'm trying to get my phone up here.
Mm.
How do you do IG? Why is it? I don't even see IG live anymore.
what?
Do they? If it does this, wait a minute. Plus, I see post, story, highlight, IGTV, video, reel. They don't have it live anymore.
Hey man, technology, man, we gotta figure it out. Try to find that balance, man. Make sure we all on every platform need be.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I just want to make sure that we have, I know a lot of people, that didn't want to tune in right now.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
Well, we got hardcore. We got copies that last. This doesn't disappear.
oh yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Yes, somebody, yo, Greg, big up, Greg, yo. G Wonder is asking. It's something that I want to ask too. I mean, we might as well get into it, man.
So, but yeah,
one thing I do remember is you always were in the company of some beautiful women, and I was like, yo, I like this guy, man. I definitely remember at some points I'd be like, yo, man, this guy likes ladies and respects these beautiful Toronto women nearly as much as I do. So, like, I mean, we just got to talk about that, man. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
How did you get into working with the models that you doing the?
So just to tie everything in, just to tie everything, tie everything in. When I was doing my all ages parties, my thing was, I used to always have like somebody at the front door collecting emails. You know what I'm saying? So I was building out my database. And at that time, my number one thing is, sex sells and all this other stuff. I'm like, I put together a little promotional modeling team for my all ages parties where, wear my t-shirts and just be in my clubs and be in the cut. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing this in 2000, trying to have the best females at my parties. You know what I'm saying? And while I was on set for an X video, someone introduced me to X and be like, yo, this is, he has a lot of models and talent and girls and he's in the clubs and, all this stuff, but, whatever. And then, then I got introduced to Ramel and X at the time on some video set, and they're like, yo, Mo, start bringing some of your talent to our videos. And then, then it was like those early 2000 times of like the Sean Paul videos that I started working on, You know, and everything was all like everything gets tied in the sense that like one thing leads to another, and I use one aspect to help with another aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, the promo models help with my club business. You know what I'm saying? And then it also tied into the videos where okay, cool. Now I'm using them making money on the sets of the videos. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm tied in everywhere and any just connecting everything. Um, and basically, I think what really took things to the next level is when I did the Nelly Bottoms Apple tour across Canada.
Mm.
Word, you were on that.
Yeah. So it's like when we did that, I had some of the baddest thing across the country in every city. I had a database of you know like 100 girls. You know what I'm saying? In every city.
All right.
Crazy.
So
I
the
like
thing
how
was,
you work.
we had a magazine called After Party magazine. So the main thing was finding the it girl, put on the cover of the magazine, give everybody a trip down to the states to go to be part of the Apple Bottoms whole thing in the states. We won the covers of Apple Bottoms. All that stuff.
So,
Um,
what
and
year
at
was
the
this?
same time, it's like okay, cool. I think that was in like 2005, 6, or 7, around that time. That's when things went to the next level. You know what I'm saying? For me, on the casting side of stuff and the modeling side of stuff.
Okay.
On recruiting talent. And then just because I had that database, that also helps with my events. So
Mhm.
shit, all the hottest girls at Amol's parties. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Word
Mm.
up.
You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And that's where everybody wants to be at. Everybody wants to be where Amal's at. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? My thing is like,
Facts.
you got to keep a good ratio. End of the day, I like to have a nice balanced ratio, and people like, that's why they'll always be they'll line up around the venues at some of the parties that I used to work with
Mm.
and I've done, and yeah, like I'm just trying to think right now, like then after that it was Sean Paul era, then there's the whole Drake era, when I worked on Replacement Girl, and that's like them early
Well,
days.
hold on. Talk about like the Sean Paul era real quick. Like what was happening that time? Because that was a pretty big booming time for like
Yeah.
Toronto and reggae and the BET movement, all that era right there.
Fuck, man, it was a different time. Like, I always tell X, Sean Paul come to Toronto, I don't know what would have happened because that also helped X career. You know what I'm saying? Doing all those videos, it helped put on all those dancers. Dating Crime, Mad Skills,
Mm.
Ponytails, Baby K. Like, just the list goes on and on and on of all the dancers that came out from that time and who are,
Facts.
some are doing big things, some aren't. It is what it is. Um, and some of them are still are mentors or dance instructors. Some of them people that are involved in those videos are like choreographing some of the biggest projects in the world right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Man, it was like so many people that are involved in that Sean Paul time, working with X, and so many man, there's just so many people. Cause I'm thinking about like Luther Brown or
Big up Luther
Fatima
Brown, man.
Ray
Yeah.
or even Tanisha Scott. I'm saying these are all names that came around those times that they're all Canadians. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And end of the day, that X put on a lot of people, and then maybe it took a little time for America to take notice.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you all those names, like everybody's doing
Always been there.
crazy things, like now
Always
in the
been
last 10 years, and I would think that's a lot of stuff is also for the whole Drake effect. You know what I'm saying? When Drake signed that
there.
deal with Young Money, and then he started popping in the last 10 years and shining the light more on us and Canadian talent. I mean, that's a whole nother different
Another
topic.
way. Yeah.
But like, yeah, that Sean Paul time, it's like, if you look at it, everybody wanted to be in a Sean Paul video. Sean Paul was selling out.
Yeah.
He was an icon at the time. He's a legend right now, and X did all those crazy videos, and even till now, people still try to replicate
They
those
do.
sets,
I see
those
it.
designs, and
Yeah.
everything. Um, and it's just crazy, like it was honestly a lot of fun, man. Working on some of those videos, they were a lot of fun. Like temperature was a lot of fun. Give me the light
Give
was
me the
was
light. Yeah, that
good.
was a big one there.
Um, uh, uh,
So you'd be on set.
get busy. Get busy was pretty good.
Oh,
Um,
you wait,
and
wait,
and
wait.
even
Were you in?
even
The way
Even Snapchat's on love with me. So go on.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just the video where they ended up in the basement there. Were you on that?
Yeah,
I'll do it too. I'll do it for pretty much all of them. Either
all
like
the video
you know,
shoots.
either I'm in the background or I'm in a cut. You know, whatever the case is. Either I'm bringing talent or not. You know, either way I have to show face. You know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so I wanted to know, like, I mean, I have my own personal experiences, but I also wanted to talk to another professional. Like, when you're dealing with these beautiful women and stuff, and some of them are dancers, some of them are, fashion designers, some of them do clothing, some of them do makeup, some of them, could be a DJ or whatever. But like, a lot of guys don't know how to deal with professionally beautiful women. So, what are some of the well, I don't know. Like, could you drop a jewel on a way that you would have to on something that you would have to do to get your job done while still being professional with these beautiful women? Like either getting them all together or working if they start to fight or dealing with your own personal emotion to them. Like, what's what's a rule that you live by when you're dealing with these professional beautiful women, or tell a crazy story?
Mm.
Respect, courtesy, and just be a gentleman. I'm a gentleman all the time, but like when it comes to the professional environment, just treat everybody with respect, you know. And everybody has their set time, and everybody has a job to do, and everybody, like especially in the early days, everybody, even now, like if you're upcoming, everybody has something to prove. Your name is always
Mm.
on the line if you want another job. You know, and I always tell people, especially in those early days, I did a lot of stuff for free. I still do, but because
Yeah.
one free job will get you 10 paid jobs, you know?
Mm.
Because when someone see your professionalism and they see your work ethic and they see your skill set, they're like, okay, I want to hire this guy. I want to pay this guy next time if I can't
Facts.
pay you now. And end of the day, it's just everybody there for a job. Everybody knows their role, and everybody just have to do it. Obviously, sometimes there might be issues on like, the work is not the greatest. Okay, you know what? Next time, we'll hire somebody else. Somebody's unprofessional. Somebody's late. Somebody's this. Somebody's that. Somebody's drunk. Somebody's this. Like, it's always obviously things are gonna happen. Yeah, there might be some little cat fight, but obviously that's kind of like that's when people get kicked out and people get blacklisted. You know what I'm saying? So like they, that's your name on the line. And if somebody's representing me and I'm sending somebody, that also, my name is always on the line in that sense, and that's why I try to show up, make sure everybody, is calm, cool, and collective, and everybody knows what they're doing, and I make sure I put my talent in check, make sure that they represent me, that nothing really happens, and obviously sometimes things will happen, and that's where, like I said, people get cut off, people get blacklisted, and I got to make sure that I keep my name respected within the directors and the community. Let them know that it's not a representation on me sometimes, and sometimes one can only do the best they can to put people in positions, right? But yet again, if you're dealing with all the professional people, everybody know what they're doing, and that's it. You just gotta, it's all courtesy and respect end of the day. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated.
That's
No,
dope.
that's a beautiful response, man. And like it sounds like your courtesy and your respect is something that has like pushed you forward, and it's no wonder like why you're able to be in certain spaces and respected by like so many people, from just like like Toronto cats and then into like international like celebrities and whatnot. But I'm just moving along like the timeline from like Toronto now, and going from like they said the Sean Paul era and then now like the Drake era. Like how did you connect with Drake? Because I know that you've worked with him like several times and
Yeah.
cross paths, and we definitely been on tour. You know what I mean? Like follow him around. But tell me how like where did that like begin?
Man, I honestly, like I said, like he had to remind me where we first met, and there's just so many other stories about Drake and just being around, like whatever. Obviously, when you're doing something, as an older guy, like I've been putting on for the city from like the early days, and my name will ring bells, and no matter what it is, um people know my name in the street to the killers in the bin. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody knew who I was. Like my name was just out there. You know what I'm saying? And people knew that when it come to Toronto, like okay, you gotta go check them all. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember that Drake had to remind me one time to like, I think the first time we met is when I was outside in line trying to come to one of your parties, and I was in line and I went outside and I got him and I brought him in. You know what I'm saying? And I brought him in VIP style. You know what I'm saying? And this is before he was like popping off as a rapper and all that stuff. As an artist. He was just an upcoming artist, trying to do his thing, and I just remember that he told me that, and then and then I'm just trying to remember like you
Do you
know,
remember what party of yours this was? Do you remember what you been to the venue?
I don't remember nothing, man. He told me what it was, and then obviously after that, it was just a wrap. Me and him just being, being cool. From me and him always been cool, and I still remember when I was like, I don't remember all the early day interactions of me and Drake because it's just been that's like so long ago. Like, that would have to be like we're talking about like '04, '05,
Yeah.
'06, and I don't remember all those little details. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I don't.
Right.
There's a lot of things that people have to remind me. What happened?
Yeah, we were just
Um,
talking about that earlier, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I remember when we did the replacement girl casting, and I was like, yo, um, let's do
What up? What up?
uh, I was doing one of my showcases. You know how I was doing a lot of showcases all over the city, and I asked him, listen, yo, can you headline my show? And he goes, yeah, sure. I'll pull up. You know what I'm saying? And so Drake did a free concert for me that I think I'm the only one that can say that made that actually did one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like 2007 or 8 before he got signed, and he did a show at
Right.
Chow Eddie Lounge. And then I was doing that showcase in partnership with Freddie Fame and a few other cats. But it was pretty much,
Right.
Freddie is the one that got the venue and organized it. I brought Drake, and then we all did a promo together.
Right.
Um, and I think I also, I think I opened up I put on the headliner, and then obviously I brought the people and the talent, and I just remember it was yeah, that was right after we did the casting. He came over that night. Him and Nico and D10.
Mm.
I still have that's on my YouTube channel. Someone can go to my YouTube channel, and they can find that freestyle and all that stuff that he did, and all the
Yes.
photos and all that original content that you never seen before.
I'm
Um, and like even fast forward a little bit, few years later than that, like same thing happened with Tory Lanez. Like me and Freddie did a lot of shows together, and Tory Lanez was upcoming rapper, want to get on, and he performed like a couple of the showcases, and then Freddie
Facts.
took him on. I'm saying, to manage him in the very beginning, and then and Freddie always had an eye for talent. Um, but I think we should actually get Freddie Fame on here, or hopefully he's listening.
Well,
we
And,
it's
uh,
funny.
we,
Funny
we,
you say
uh,
that, man. That's
we,
we're already, we're that's exactly what
Yeah, so
we're
like
doing.
it's just so many things, and like just to touch base on like Mindbender, like even me and you, like obviously, like I don't know, like Toronto history. It's just so many things, and I just remember like even before all of that, like in talking about in the early 2000 time, I wanted to like really understand the way everything worked. You know what I'm saying? I really want to understand. Like not only that, I wanted to just be everywhere. I just want to like take in the culture. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Because I loved it that much.
Right.
So I
Right.
made sure that okay, cool. When I turned 19, I started doing 19 plus parties.
Right.
I'm like, I reach out to a guy named Neil Forrester from Mass Appeal, just to like, let me learn about how this 19 plus shit works.
Mm.
mm.
Then you have and then at the same, I'm going to university at the time. I'm like, shit, like I like concerts. I like going to shows. I like all this. I'm doing my own showcases. Let me learn more of the back end of stuff. So
Mhm.
I was working for RMG, which is Ramos's company, right?
Oh,
But
I never knew you worked for Rainbow. I never knew that. That word.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly that's how I got into a lot of those RMG content
Right.
to begin with.
Yep.
Right.
This guy
Right.
named Phil, this guy I went to university with. Um, Actually, I'm forgetting his name right now. He knew that I was promoting this and that. And he's like, yo, like I see you. Why don't you come, help us out with our treatment and our promos for RMG? Because like, I'll see him outside of my parties handing out his flyers, and I'm like, yo,
Right.
so I like all these shows. I want to get involved. You know what I'm saying? What's good? Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like whatever.
Yeah.
You have to find a hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a young student. I'm a young student that doesn't really have that kind of money to be everywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
For
And
real.
I'm not trying to pay $100 a ticket to get in places. Come on now.
No,
You
no,
know,
that's
Building
part of
those relationships, man.
I'm in university, second year university. I'm paying $50,000 of OSAP.
Facts.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. He introduced me to this guy named Phil, who was the street team coordinator, the manager of the promotions department there, and then you
real.
know, and then
Remember Phil.
you guys remember Phil?
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. So, so end of the day, Phil, and then after when the other guy left, I was still there. Like I was with RMG for quite a few years, and I was still there until like everything kind of
Turned into Union.
yeah, exactly. That's when everything changed, and then that's when okay, cool. They did more cross country stuff and all the across the country and all the stuff. Mass Appeal became Substance Group. You know what I'm saying? So and then I was also working with Maximus too. So Little X
Oh,
and
right.
Taj, they got into events and parties and concerts too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I
That,
remember,
yeah.
there was a contract between everybody to do the Mark Echo Festival. And Drake was one of the street team guys who was working with us on the street team for the Mark Echo Festival.
No way! No way!
That's a gem.
Yeah.
That's a gem.
So I'll just try to try that in there, a little bit,
Yo,
Drake really wanted to learn his shit, so he was handing out flyers at a lot of our parties.
Right.
Yo, Greg, that's how we preserve history. Yo, I was at that.
Yes.
Oh man, you mean the Mark Echo, like the Cardinal Guitar Smash one, like that one?
The Mark Echo Festival at the docks, with the 2-day festival.
Yeah, Kanye was there, Ludacris.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, that one. Yeah, pretty much. Drake was handing out flyers for that event.
Yo, that was so amazing. Yo, Fat
That's
Joe
amazing.
did the graffiti piece there, man. That was like a
Yeah.
big moment, man.
Like, There's still photos. Like I can get you a photo of Drake in the cut, with the whole Mark Echo gear,
I would
That's
love
sick.
to see that.
Wow.
Though. That was an amazing, epic, amazing story.
Yeah.
It was an amazing moment, and that was actually technically the very first multi-promoted, like
Yeah.
Right.
It
was Canadian and American together.
There was nothing like it at the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
you're right.
First time.
Obviously, there's a lot of hiccups, but it worked
Yeah,
out.
it lost a lot of money, but
Exactly.
it was still necessary. It was still like visionary. We know that it was just like, hey, Mark Echo didn't know this market that well, and it was the first time. So that's really what it was about. It was like, yo, we gotta kind of, every promoter knows that. You probably.
I wish. Obviously, a lot of people try to do that again. Obviously, it's not easy to do something like that. In the States, it's a lot easier because you have the population, but we don't have the population here. But now we have more numbers. But really, it's all about target marketing. And it just, it was great. It was good, but it could have been great. It could have been better than it was. And it was also the timeline to do all that was very, very little. There wasn't too much time to really push that festival too much. I recall, and I think at one point, it was Mark Echo in the day. He's the one that spent all the money to make it happen. He wanted to do it, and that's it, right? And I'm just trying to think right now, like, them days, like, I don't even know what year that was. That had to have been, I think, 07. Like, I'm
I think it might have been earlier than that. No, like.
No, it's like 2005, 2004.
Yeah,
it was like
2004. Yeah, that sounds more about.
But yeah, like I said, man, them times, like, the early 2000 era was definitely something else.
Yeah, it's like MySpace and
MySpace.
Yeah, G Wonder is saying, yo, he performed with Thrust at Echo Fest. Big up to Mans in the Cuts like Thrust, and Tara Chase wasn't on there, but Cardinal was on there. Who else was it? What other
Chaos? Was Chaos there too?
No, he wasn't there, I don't think, but Cardinal smashed the guitar in reference to Chaos.
That's what it was. Okay, I knew there's some kind of
I think Rochester was on it as well, possibly.
Yeah.
But it was just a really, like, I was so proud of. Julie Black was on it. I'm pretty sure Julie Black was on Echo Fest. But I mean, it's so good to hear these stories, man. It's so good to just preserve the history, like Greg was saying. Just bringing it back to now, man. Like what going into the future, Amol? I mean, we know we're dealing with this COVID shit, but just besides that, what are you doing? What have you done this year to try to still be the Mr. Standout that you normally are in the context of the world you live in? And like, even if you have to talk about 2 or 3 years from now, like, what do you want to do going towards your future? Like things that you haven't done yet, or new projects or new ideas for Mr. Standout?
Man, obviously we're living in a very different time, and to me it's good and bad at the same time. The world needed an awakening. I'll be honest, I was moving too much around. I need to, stay still. I think the world needs to come more focused. Obviously, it's not really the best times for people's mental health and everything like that because, the world is in chaos. All this politics bullshit. Because we all know that, all this is actually pretty bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Even though the virus is real, they're just doing all this stuff unnecessary. Other places are doing much better than we are. But even though we're still, I would say we're still top 10 in the world, there's still other. I can't even think of there's one country that's doing really well with 0 cases. Everything is open. Everything is good.
New Zealand and South Korea, they're killing it right now. They're fucking.
Just and then anyways, moving forward, obviously everybody has to everybody needs to adapt and pivot and move forward. Obviously, who knows what the landscape going to be for touring and for shows and for concerts, moving forward. And we might not even have a concert, like a real concert. Like, okay, I was at my boy's house the other day, and when he put on some concerts, what's her name was performing her. She was amazing, killing it. She reminded me of Prince and Alicia Keys, and she was just beautiful. And I'm like, seeing the interaction, seeing the crowd, seeing all that, the backup and all that. It's like, to have that again may not happen for at least another year. Maybe not till 2022 for it to be back to normal if we're lucky. Because we're already almost at 2021. We're not even close to we're not even close to even having anything happening. Like, we're still in lockdown. You know what I'm saying? They just came up with a color system today to do like having some places open with some social distancing and a couple people at a table and all that stuff. Like, I'm just wondering, like, when are we going to be allowed to have actual concerts and tours? Because, like, I feel like these artists and everybody's hurting. Because, put it this way, I feel like a lot of artists careers may have just ended this year alone. Because they relied on touring and that extra merchandising and touring money to sustain their careers, because online is not really for everybody, and shows sometimes, like, I'm a very old school grassroots kind of person, and I always believe in street marketing. The value in street marketing is a whole different level, especially in your own neighborhood. Like, if you really go hard, like Master P is a good example when he did it. And a lot of time when we're doing, in my opinion, when we're doing concerts back in the day and showcases for the underground hip hop scene, how did we get the word out there? We literally had to, like,
radio shows.
You have to be in the mix.
It was just word of mouth, literally. A piece of paper and word of mouth. If you had, if you could remember, not everybody could afford to print a flyer. You know what I'm saying? Flyers cost money.
Oh, them days. Oh, man.
So I'm just saying, in general, it's all about grassroots marketing. Like, a lot of people still do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got social media, technology, all this stuff, cool. But imagine, you're just to have, like, I feel bad for all those people that can't even do a show in their own look. Like, I think in the States it's different. People can still do shows, and if you're a local artist, you could probably still do something. On a global scale, you can't really do stuff. Obviously, you have the virtual concerts. That's cool to a certain extent, but only very few people can pull that off. You have the drive-in concerts. Yet again, only a few people can really pull that off, and it's still really not the same effect, right? Like, Division did five sold out concerts in a row, which is great. So now, okay, cool. Like, right now, I have, like, for example, I have two app companies with my business partner, one called Sessions, one called My Turf. My Turf is a more of a sporting kind of system, like, where you can book spaces, So even that, we're pivoting right now. And our other app, and you guys will hear about that soon, but our other app is called Sessions, which is a unique learning experience app, you know what I'm saying, to learn from somebody one-on-one, and you can book somebody for their time and you can learn something from somebody, right? Now, we're going to make that more of a virtual experience. Obviously, there's a lot of people doing virtual experiences and virtual learning right now. Virtual learning is the number one thing happening right now, because a lot of people can't go to school. So all the education right now, they're being forced to teach everybody to go to virtual learning, And thing is, me and my partner, we came up with this even before all this happened, because we want to disrupt the education system, because end of the day, you don't need to go to university and for 4 or 5 years and try to learn something which you might not even use. The whole premise of our app is to make sure that people can go on and find someone in a certain kind of subject matter and find some mentors that can teach you okay, you know what, bypass this whole system, okay, pay me for my time, let's learn, teach me what I need to learn, and let's
Right.
move forward.
Moving.
And people can go download the app. It's called sessionswithaz.com,
Okay.
and basically right now we're pivoting even that platform to make it more of a virtual learning experience. So right now, I
Well,
think within the next 6 months we'll get that on and popping where people can do more virtual. So because Zoom is not really the
yeah,
proper format, there's a lot of
that's
stuff that people are doing. There's a lot of different applications and software, but there hasn't been one and some that really executed properly. You know what I'm saying? Where you can learn
don't you
directly
think?
from one to one. People are doing stuff
Yo,
on their own. Like you have the personal trainer. You'll come on my live. You send me
yeah,
an email transfer. Do this, do that. Our platform is very simple. You sign up. You book the class that you want, the instructor you want, and the money goes to them automatically.
just
Very
like that,
simple. And you just book right away, and you're learning you have your slot time,
man.
and that's it.
That's
You
I'll
know what
tell
I'm
you,
saying?
yo, that's perfect, man. And I'm gonna build on you with that, man, because
For
like
sure.
you said about the learning platforms, like that's exactly where we're at right now. We're stolen from Africa, so very
Mhm.
timely. We'll definitely build on that. But I actually want to get back to a question that G Wonder asked. You know, what I mean, like Amal's craziest industry story. Well, I'm
Um,
curious to know. You know, what I mean, that's
I don't
super
even
cool.
know. I honestly like. I think being backstage with Rihanna and Jay-Z one time is pretty crazy. When they came
Rihanna
here
and
for
Jay Z. Like, go to tell me about that. Yeah, go ahead, man. Break that
I
down.
was doing Caravana, you know what I'm saying? And it was like I was with X, like, rolling with X sometimes is it's a blessing. But like even just hustling around, I think it was the magazine launch party. It was in a parking lot. And that's when even before that Jay-Z
Right.
brought up Rihanna Much Music with that other artist that they had, and there was two of them, and he brought them out, these are my two new artists, and then I remember like fast forward to that magazine launch party in a parking lot doing Caravana. Jay-Z is like, yo, this is Rihanna did a little performance, so that was a cool experience, like Rihanna actually remembers me to this day from like all the time that me and her connected on, from like Pound the
Yeah.
Replay video to like I booked her, I she got booked for an after party at Oxygen nightclub that I was there to help out to facilitate her coming in and stuff like that. I remember that me making sure she was good, like me like being that promoter guy and just trying to be the hospitality and being the cut, like like it's a different thing. Like you have to and obviously like either I'm the guy or I'm not the guy. And regardless, you have to, if you're the guy or not, you need to show respect to everybody that's there with you. You know what I'm saying? And you can't. So, example, if I'm underneath somebody, I got to give them that courtesy to like, yo, okay, when I'm allowed to talk, when I'm allowed to talk, what I'm allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. And that's like honestly, those are like the early 2000s. Like those what you have to do. I'm not trying to think like. I guess I feel like just thinking about some of these stories in the years. I was almost like I feel like, man, like, technically, you gotta take charge. Like a lot of me and you did a lot of crazy interviews, and we did a lot of stuff. And sometimes you just gotta take charge and be like, yo, let's get this media shit done, and let's get
Yeah.
this interview done. And sometimes you gotta like what's the word I'm looking for? You have to basically be aggressive if you want to get something or get at
True.
somebody. You know what I'm saying? And build with somebody. I still remember like, you know, I remember when I interviewed Ludacris. I took my camera team to Afterlife nightclub. He was hosting a party. I knew the people. I knew all the booking people. I already knew. I already arranged it ahead of time because me and his people were good. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I made sure I built a relationship with Luda and his team. For a minute, and I just I remember going to the studio with Ludacris. And I went to the studio was Ludacris, and I played him some beats. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to like, yo, I'll work with this producer named DA, and I went there, and I remember T Minus was right there before me, him and his manager playing beats for Ludacris. And that's when the whole situation when T Minus got that placement for High Low. You know what I'm saying?
I
Mm,
yo, that's
I just remember that alone, like everything is always interconnected to one
right.
another.
Right.
Now even now I'm thinking about the whole Ludacris situation right now, just bringing him name up and thinking about Mark Echo. I remember when like Taj was also bringing Drake around. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake
Mm,
had a couple of managers prior to, but I just remember like Taj was doing Maximus was doing a whole lot of shit, and obviously Drake is coming up. Like I even like told Luda, yo, listen, like I told Future, and Future was working with Drake at the time heavy, so I told Future, let's make let's I told Luda that, yo, there's a guy named Drake, yo, let's do it, let's do a track, have you guys do a track.
yeah.
and I remember they told me some stupid ass number. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
um,
Right.
I just
Like, yeah.
I actually never said this to these guys, but I still remember his boy was like, "Yo, Ma, if anybody wants to do a track with Luda, a future out of Toronto, yo, it's gonna cost him a house."
Stop it. That's what the man
that's
said.
that's the way the guy phrased it to me. I'm like,
House.
cool. Fast forward like a year later, and the rest was I honestly they build a relationship on their own. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that was actually through Taj and through Taj events and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking about how like there's different artists. I just remember I was like when people were coming up in the city, I'm like, yo, like I did do that. I was like, yo, there's a guy named Drake. Yo, you guys need to do a track together or a future, like And I'll tell Future like, listen, like let me connect you guys. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And this is before the whole Young Money and all that stuff. But Drake has already been plotting, making noise already with that Replacement Girl video, and then when he dropped, the mixtape, and when he got into BT, like, when they were pushing, Replacement Girl video, yo, we got to get it to #1, everybody, post it. Like I forgot how we were promoting it. I think obviously we that was like during the MSN days, and I think MySpace was popping at the time.
Yeah.
I forgot what other ways we were trying to like really make noise, like because we all had to vote and we had to share the link with one another, right? So it's like a broadcast message on MSN, we got to get
for sure. MSN would have been the way for sure.
Right. So I'm just thinking about it, like damn, like I don't remember, that was like in 07, yeah, 2007, and I guess I sometimes I think about it, fuck, like I guess we started in 99, 2000, and I guess between 2000, 2005, I guess that's when I became the man at some point, like 04, I guess. I would literally have to go back to like certain parties to find out what year a party was to find out when I really became the man. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, and I'm a very humble guy, and people like always looked up to me from them times.
Yeah,
and then every 5 years, I guess, sometimes I guess somehow, some way I'll do something like iconic, or I've been involved in something iconic. And then I guess my name brand was just like, okay, shit, Amol. It's like, shit, how did you like get involved in this? How did you like, whatever. But just being around and just being around end of the day, and just finding your lane and figure it out. Even for myself, I had a lot of pitfalls, and honestly, like, I went a different avenue because like obviously I'm not an MC, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a producer, I'm not this, I'm not that, you know what I'm saying? So you got to find your own lane if you want, and you got to find your own lane if you want to be somewhere, and then you got to carve out your own niche. And I guess I did that with the whole model, so I could stay connected and keep doing my thing, But even right now, like I'm gonna let people know that it's all music is where it's at right now. I think in the last 6 months, people should be working on their craft, working on who they are, build their brand, build their base up, and just really focus on your music, releasing music, being consistent, going online, do your thing, because it's all gonna be a virtual world right now, and you got to navigate the virtual space. And if you can't really see people in person right now, you got to really understand online shopping, getting your merch out there, doing all a bunch of stuff. Obviously, a lot of people's careers are pretty much over, but then there's other people that are still doing their thing. Like, I'll be honest, in the last 6 months, I've done a lot of videos in the last 6 months, a lot of videos. Like, it was not easy, but obviously March, April, nothing. May, I did like 2 videos. June, I did like 5. July, I did like 10. August, I did like 10. September, I did like 10. October, October was different because they implemented all the lockdown, and I had about 10 videos, and they all got postponed to November, to after the lockdown. So it's kind of like sad that and obviously a lot of these production companies aren't allowed to do any kind of commercials or anything because of permits and all this stuff. And then you come down to the point of, okay, cool, what are we allowed to do? Everybody was doing stuff underneath the table for a good while, cash only kind of productions, But then other people found out, like, you have the bigger corporations found out a way how to do a commercial without virtually, you know what I'm saying? And people could film themselves at home and then send it in, and
it's definitely a time to be creative.
There's different ways to get creative to make it done, or just have one place and one person in at a time. Okay, we shoot in and out, and it just people are getting creative. You have to when you're a corporation, that's different. And I guess all these I can't even think of it right now off the top of my head, but like sometimes you watch these commercials online and it's like on TV and it's like, okay, how the hell did they make these commercials, like these COVID commercials? Like how many
Right.
COVID commercials have you seen in the
Right.
summertime?
Right.
Like how did they get it done? There has to be a way. People need to like
Right.
people know like stay safe, be safe. We're doing contactless delivery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's some of these commercials are actually pretty good. Like I think it was Domino's had a really good one of like
Right.
where they had a commercial was like everything contact like as soon as we put the pizza in the oven, take it out, it goes in the box. We're not even touching the food.
Right.
It goes in the box. It goes directly into the bag.
Right.
It goes in. Then the
Yeah.
bag gets into the back seat, and then and it gets dropped off
Yeah.
to your porch. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you're absolutely right though. Like we'll always find like innovative ways to move.
Yeah, and this is the time
So
where people need to like understand. Okay, you know what? We need to like think outside the box.
facts.
Obviously it's very when if you follow the hashtag Toronto Together, it's pretty amazing what Canada, even Toronto, has done in a whole, and the people who have come together to help other people and to do certain things. Okay, to do social distancing events and a lot of, obviously like for I think for a lot of people had a mental breakdown in March and April, and people was still
Sure.
didn't give didn't even care, doing all kinds of like foolishness wild parties, and a lot of people who are really really scared and were like, yo, I'm not leaving my house for nothing, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And there's still people like that, and obviously that's when everything became that's when Zoom became the biggest thing there is
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like Zoom then
You have to
became
learn how to
Zoom
adapt, man. Yeah.
adapt. And even now, like there's more platforms coming out, more ways to do business, more meetings, ways to do settings, and it's still going to be a lot of ways, and we have to all navigate and come
Right.
together. But it's just very, if you follow the hashtag Toronto Together, pretty amazing stories in there that I gotta commend a lot of people that you gotta really appreciate,
Yeah.
actual humanity. There's a lot of people that went all the way to help other people, and this is a time,
Yeah.
the second wave about to happen. It's winter time. We gotta think
Right.
about helping the less fortunate and helping. And these kids, I don't even know. I feel bad for people in school right now, and all these
Facts.
outbreaks are happening, and teachers can't even go back. And
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, man. Like right now, the future, the elections are today. We're gonna find out what's gonna happen by tomorrow, if not this
A
week. And the
lot.
whole
Right.
future, it's in it's in chaos pretty much, and it's just kind of crazy how COVID just took over the world all at
Yeah.
the same time.
But
And
like,
obviously, this is just a virus that's pretty much, it's obviously a crazy ass virus just to happen to every single person, to every single country, all at
yeah.
the same time. Viruses don't work like that. So
Yeah.
obviously, there's a whole different like conspiracy theory on how this all
Another thing,
came
man.
about.
Yeah. But
But
speaking of that, like before we wrap up, man, I just want to kind of get into like because we know we're getting into like like the cold season and you know what I mean, like second waves and all that kind of stuff. And you've been pretty adamant about like physical health. I always see your Instagram stories of running around like every day. So I want to talk about a little bit about that. Like, why was that important for you, and like what keeps you going to be consistent with that?
I'll be honest, it's like I had nothing better to do for the first couple months. It's like there's nothing going on, and my thing is like I have a passion for playing basketball, and I just want to get some exercise and just do my thing. And even in March, April, it's like -5, really cold outside. I'm wearing a hat and a glove, and I'm playing ball. And the thing is, they said you're allowed to go for a run, but people didn't understand what that really meant. They thought that COVID was in the streets, in the air, on the walls. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, it wasn't really like that. Thing is, people didn't really understand it. So we're under like a serious lockdown, quarantine. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna go for a jog. I'm gonna go play ball by myself. I did it by myself. You're allowed to go by yourself. You know what I'm saying? But then afterwards, and then they say, okay, you know what? You're allowed to stay with that. You can have a social circle of like 2 people, 4 people in your household. But it's not really about your household. You can have your friend down the street, even though it said, oh, no, no, no. But you're allowed to go like, yo, let's go. Like, I'll tell my boy, let's go play ball. And I remember like he got paranoid at one point because what ended up happening is that somebody complained where we were playing ball at. Like literally, they shut down my park that I used to play back at Wallace Emerson. And I literally had to drive around the whole city to find 10 courts which are open with empty basketball nets that I can play on my own. So then I did that. I found a few and I was doing that. And then at And then they'd be like, then they really just boarded up every court there was. They saw some kids playing, and some neighbors would complain, oh, they'll call the police or whoever, and then next day the municipality will like board up the basketball courts and and then they'll put the yellow tape on all the playgrounds. Like I get the yellow tape on playground. Like kids from the neighborhood, there should not be 10 kids at a playground from 10 different households mingling around. Yes, I agree that shouldn't have been happening at all.
Yeah, but you're like solo dolo, man, just trying to get fit.
Exactly. You know, I'm solo dolo with my boy, that's it. But I remember my boy was paranoid because someone videotaped us one time on a court. And then I come back the next day and there's yellow tape on the court. I'm like, why there's yellow tape? I'm by myself. Like, who cares? And my boy, I remember the police would drive by and my boy would get paranoid. I'm like, listen, like, forget the paranoia. Let's just keep doing our thing. And the cops never bothered me at all. They would drive by, even at my own court when it came back open, the cop would come by, didn't even say anything, you know? But I do remember one time they watched me if I was going to take down the yellow tape or not. And I didn't take down the yellow tape. I kept
there to your business and cut, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, the thing is, like, on that particular court, they said you are not allowed to touch the yellow tape, you know what I'm saying? So I made sure when I saw them, I didn't do that, you know? I mean, I just moved on to another court. But I remember when I went to this other court at Shaw and Gibbons, and it was open. It's a public school. It wasn't a city property. So they shut down all city properties. So what I did was I went to all the all the public schools that had the outdoor nets that was not city property.
Right.
So that's what I did. So and that's
you really went on like a whole like mission to like, you know, find the path. And
I did. I went to, like I said, I went to like maybe like 20 different basketball courts, 20 different schools. I drove around my neighborhood just to see, like, trust me. And I marked down at least 5 of them out of like 20. You know.
Dope, man.
And then I remember I went to Sean Givens, and the police will like come by and they didn't even say a word. They were more focused on that Trinity Bell words because
like more larger gatherings. Yeah, like more larger gatherings. That's more
not about the 1, 2, 3 people playing basketball by themselves. Yeah, like, you know, one time, you know, when I started going there, eventually what happened is that people started seeing me and other people started coming there, cool, and then other people started coming, and then all of a sudden you have like families of people playing basketball or doing
that's probably what they want to avoid in the first place, right? Because they see one person, then they think it's to give the green light.
But
you know?
I'm talking about in May. This is like in May and June. And then obviously at that point the bio officer did come by saying, you know what, you guys aren't allowed to give people a warning. And then a lot of people got scared and like they never came back again. To me, it's like, yo, I never got no warning. You know what I'm saying? At all. I was never scared because this is, you know, they can't do nothing to you. They can't really give you a ticket. They're trying to like implement all this stuff. But a lot of the whole process was like, yo, let's give people like a warning and just let them learn and teach them. We're not going to give no tickets. Like they said that. They even said you're allowed to go for a run, like go get some exercise, like get out of the house. That's when I think it was June 1st, the first week of June. It's when they lifted the sanctions and the quarantine.
Facts.
And then I think the summer was probably one of the most litest summer in a while because it was like a free for all. Like everybody doing beach parties, everybody doing birthday parties, everybody doing this, everybody doing that. The summer, I'll be honest, is probably one of the best summers like in a long time.
I agree, man.
I'm a little upset that like everybody that had a summer birthday had a summer birthday. You know what I'm saying? My birthday's in 2 days. And the whole city's on lockdown, and I can't even do anything. You can't even do a private party. Like we did like some crazy ass private mansion parties in the summer, and it was really, 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 really good. But yeah, my whole thing is like, listen, go outside, get some exercise. You know, you can do whatever you want. Just obviously stay safe, and also number one thing, don't wear a mask.
Okay. Well, on that note, maybe we're gonna wrap this up. But my minute, what you got there, man?
When you're working out, don't wear a mask. When you're in public, wear a mask.
Okay, word. Yeah.
Clarification.
So let me clear that up. Because we're talking about working out. You should not. This is where I get really upset. It's like, and this UFC fighter posted a whole interview online, and I really want to repost that. But basically, he said the same thing I was saying. He was driving by a schoolyard, seeing all these kids playing around wearing masks in a playground, and then the kids literally every 5 minutes will stop to take their mask off to breathe in the fresh air, and then he was the teacher be like, no, put your mask on, keep your mask on, and this crazy thing is you're breathing in poison, carbon dioxide, while you have those face mask coverings on, and you're running around.
It's different for when
that stuff
you're
is going to
running.
kill you.
Yeah, no,
People
especially if you're
die
like active. Yeah, for sure. You're running
in
around and
China.
being
They
deadly.
even said that people died of asphyxiation, which I can't pronounce right now, because people are dying and breathing in their own carbon dioxide. You need oxygen for your lungs. You need oxygen for your blood. You need oxygen to breathe. So while you're working out and doing all this stuff, don't wear a mask, because then you're going to kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? The only time you wear a mask is when you need to take preventive. The whole purpose of the mask is for the droplets, not to spread.
When you're in public around major groups of people, absolutely.
Exactly. So I would say, yes, when you go to a grocery store and there's like 100 people in there, you should wear a mask. Even still, you should even wear gloves, in my opinion, because the problem is people don't. Like I always have hand sanitizer in my pocket. Now they have hand sanitizer station as you come in. The problem is that when you go to a damn grocery store, people are touching the food still with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Where's the COVID? Where's the COVID then? What COVID are you talking about? They're allowing this to happen. So it's like there's just so many things that
be safe out there, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? So my main thing is, just be safe, be healthy, do the protective measures in the public spaces that you have to do. Yes, follow protocol. But when you're by yourself, it's another thing. Tell me this. Why are people wearing a mask in their own car driving by themselves?
Yeah, that's a little silly. But that's unnecessary. But brother,
man,
it's so good to hear that you're strong, you're smart, you're still doing your damn thing, you're making pleasure and goodness happen in your community with the people safely, privately and professionally. It's just good to hear, man. I gotta bounce in a minute. I got another podcast I gotta do, but thank you for being on here, man. Thank you for all the jewels you dropped. Just like
I'll be honest, we might have to do a part 2, because we haven't even talked about half the tours or half the people.
Well, so we'll bring you in next week, man. Next week we'll come back again. Man.
It would be cool to do a part 2. If you want to do it, we'll do
a part 2, man. I'll be honest, I was kind of jumping all over the place. And I know, and I kind of rambled.
No, but there's a lot, but we got you.
Topics.
No. We don't. We want we ain't trying to just chop up.
Real, man. This is
you and him got so much history in this city. We're trying to tell this Toronto history. We're just gonna do it a week at a time, a show at a time. But we would love to have you back and. Thank you for being who you are, Amol. You're
no, man. We're going to sign off, man. Reminisce Show, man. We get the exclusive, man. Exclusive stories, man.
Shout out Logik, story from Africa. Shout out Mindbender. I definitely need that sweater from you real soon.
You,
and Mindbender, we definitely have to connect on what we talked about earlier.
We got
tomorrow.
We got dreams going on, but every show, I gotta still slide this in. I got a bag of old flyers. And then we pull out and just reminisce on a flyer from the past. We don't know if you were here at this show.
That was at the Sound Academy.
Yeah, Miss Sound Academy show. That
was Message Man. I remember that backstage was him. I got photos from that night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had backstage. We got the interview. That's where he did he always does a stage dive in there, but this one he did a really good one. Yeah, and I got that. I got that shot.
That was Johnny was with us too, right? Logik.
Exactly.
You in the video, Johnny was in the photos.
That's word up, yo. That's thank you for being part of that history, man. That's what we because these stories don't get told. But Amol, we're gonna have you back, man. Mr. Standout.
Sounds good.
Part of Toronto history, reminiscing. We bring the future and the past together. Thank you for living it. Thank you for being a real motherfucker. And that's it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for having me. Signing off, man. Till next week.
All right,